Hello and welcome to my dental hygiene school experience. My name is Dax Ska, and each episode I'm going to share my own experience of dental hygiene school. The highs, the lows, the funny, and the real. Thank you for joining me on my journey, and here's another episode right now. What's up, dental nerds? How's it going? Well, I am Dax Ska. I am the dental assistant and now dental hygiene student. And I'm just here to talk about week 5 this week, so just covering 1 week. So let's get right into it. So I don't think I mentioned this last week. Last week we originally had 2 exams scheduled for the same day, anatomy and physiology and microbiology. Those 2 classes are my hardest classes, and the idea of having both the exams on the same day was crazy to me. One of the classmates had the idea of talking to one of the instructors about moving the exams. Maybe we come in on a day we don't normally come in just to break them up. So we talked to one of our instructors, and they talked to our department head, and guess what? We got it moved. We only had to worry about 1 midterm at a time, which is really nice. So we decided that we're going to do anatomy and physiology first, and next week we'll do microbiology. Our anatomy and physiology, or A&P, midterm was on Wednesday. So we have classes twice a week in that class, Mondays and Wednesdays. Monday's class, we use that time to review everything we have learned in the past 4 weeks. So we played games, kind of like trivia games. We used a website called Kahoot, K-A-H-O-O-T. So it's kind of like a fun trivia game, but kind of geared towards education. The instructors make the questions, and then we all compete for top place. So it could be multiple choice, or here's 4 things and read them in the right order, or true, false. There's different options. Makes it kind of fun. I feel like A&P is a tough subject for me, and there are some concepts I still have trouble wrapping my mind around. But as we went through the game, I felt like I didn't know all the answers, but I wasn't there to win, so I wasn't too worried about it. But there were some questions where I didn't know the answer, but I kind of answered based on instinct. And I got the questions right. And I moved higher and higher up on the leaderboard, and I answered so many questions using my instinct that when the game was over, I was in first place. That was pretty exciting, even though it's for school and for no points or grades or anything like that. And although I got first place, I hardly think I'm the smartest person in the class. But that's okay. That's not what it's about. Our class then played a Jeopardy type game where we were split into 2 teams. So we basically competed, and on this game the class didn't do nearly as well. There were a lot of questions we didn't even know the answer to as a team. And in the end, the program that we were using, or app, whatever it was, they gave us an overall grade of how we did. We scored something like 52%. Keep in mind that the passing grade in our school is 77%. So that was Monday. We all decided that we needed to really buckle down and study. So when Tuesday rolled around, we decided to get together online, and we did an online study hall. So we just got together. We started at 11 a.m., and we went through every single lecture that we had gone through since we started. Some of these lectures have over 50 slides, so it's not just a little bit. It's quite a heavy load to go through. I'm not sure how many lectures we went through, but it was a lot. We pushed through with only a few breaks until maybe 8 or 9 at night, so that's many hours, and it was a lot of information. By the end, my brain was completely fried. But I felt like I needed to do just a little bit more studying, so I found some YouTube videos that help explain some things that we're studying in A&P. And let me just give a shout out to the YouTube channel, the Amoeba Sisters. Their videos are awesome, and they're responsible for me getting at least 1 question right on my exam. Alright, and I'm just going to take a little break right here, and we'll be back. Alright, welcome back. So let's just jump into Wednesday morning, the day of the exam. So I was nervous. I said a little prayer, and then we just went right into the exam. It was mostly multiple choice with some fill-in-the-blank questions. And you just kind of jump in the exam. You don't really think about the overall picture of the exam. You just focus on what's right in front of you. I went through the first page, and honestly, it wasn't bad at all. I did come across some questions I didn't know the answer. If I really couldn't figure it out, I just circled the question and came back to it at the end. There are some questions where I used my gut instinct to answer them. They always say trust your gut instinct. Well, when I got to the end of the exam, I went through every single question again to make sure I answered everything, make sure it all made sense. And I'm glad I did that because I realized I misread one of the questions. And so I was able to reread it, go back, and fix my answer. But in going through the questions, I did something I told myself I wasn't going to do. Changed my answers. But there were 4 questions that I changed from what I originally put down. This was a huge gamble for me. But I was listening to my gut, and something told me that I think I need to change these answers. Once I was done the exam, as everyone was done, we all went into the lobby and waited. And of course, the only thing we're talking about is like, well, what'd you get on this question? What'd you get on that question? And so some good things about that and some bad things, I guess. I don't know. But I felt good about how I did. I wasn't sure if I passed, but I at least put in a good effort. Once everyone was done, our instructor was going to grade all of the tests, and she ended up leaving the classroom for that. And she didn't actually mention if she was coming back or if we'd find out our grade right away. So we waited around for a while, and me and one other student, we went to the break room to eat lunch. And we didn't, it had been a while, so she could be back at any time. We just told someone, hey, if she comes back, please let us know. Well, as luck would have it, I was just finished heating up my food, and I was about to sit down and eat when we got a message from another student that our instructor was back. We rushed back to the classroom, and when we walked in the door, everything was very silent. She was handing out the tests, and my first thought was that we all did terrible. And no one wanted to talk about it. So I was nervous, waiting in line to get my test, and when I finally got my grade, my heart was pumping fast. I was a little nervous. But guess what? I passed. That was exciting. And looking back on the questions that I answered, the ones that I changed, they were all right. So I still say, though, trust your gut instinct. So the next exam we have is Intro to Dental Hygiene on Monday, and in microbiology on Wednesday we have our exam there. So they're breaking up all the midterms, which is quite nice, but microbiology is probably the hardest class for me. It's like learning a whole new language. I talked to someone in the class ahead of our group. She said that in the same class for her group, only 2 people passed the midterm. I feel like that's a big deal. And the other day I talked to someone else that's 2 classes ahead of mine, and in her class nobody passed the midterm. In a way, it kind of takes the pressure off, but some of the information I will need to know for the board exams in 2 years. So, it's good and bad. But I have lots of time to prep for the board exams. It's in 2 years, so, I'm not going to worry too much about it right now. But that is all for this week. I want to thank everyone for listening. And next week we're going to talk about how I did on my Intro to Dental Hygiene class and my microbiology class. And I tend to do better in my dental hygiene classes because I'm already in dental. But anyway, if you want to follow me on Instagram or on TikTok, my username is dachska.dental. And I would love to see you there. And we'll see you next week. Bye. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to today's episode. It truly means a lot. I look forward to sharing more experiences with you on the next episode. Until then, I am Dax Ska, and you dental nerds keep it real.